Surviving Argentina's Economic Collapse, Part 7. Food, a delicate issue. Even though not in the same way, it does affect us all. Keep in mind that if SHTF, prepared or not, food will always be in your thoughts. If you don't have it, you'll do anything to get it, and if you are prepared, you'll worry about being able to get more for the future. Once you see food prices go up between 200% and 300%, or simply see it missing, you'll realize what a valuable commodity food really is. To those that think that food will never be a problem in USA, come visit my country. Even though there are desert areas up north, most of the country is fertile pampa. Just after World War II, Argentina practically fed Europe. Argentina was known in Europe as the world's granary. Cattle and wheat was enough to feed our own country and another continent. So what happened? Why are there so many that have little or no food and end up eating out of dumpsters? I mean, the land is still here, isn't it? Well, the country is the same country that used to be called the world's granary, but some things changed. Several big multinational corporations, such as Benetton, bought hundreds of thousands of acres of natural resources. I don't know the exact number, but I do remember that the media started talking about the integrity of the sovereignty of the country being at risk because of these massive purchases of land. So you can imagine how many acres were bought. Mysteriously, the media suddenly dropped the subject. Another important factor is that now with our new economy, it's not good business to sell Argentine food to Argentina. Why sell a kilogram of meat to the local market for 17 pesos when they can now sell it to Spain for 17 euros when 1 euro equals 3 or 5 pesos? Editor's note: the Irish potato famine was not the result of not enough food being in Ireland, but rather the Irish peasants were too poor to purchase anything and English landowners selling their goods to the highest payer. All this combined with high unemployment, salaries that are not enough to buy the minimal amount of calories for a typical family, and the high prices resulted in a country that slowly started to suffer hunger. Again, I can pinpoint the exact moment when the entire country realized what was happening. After the 2001 crisis, things had been bad, but people in Buenos Aires, the capital city and the richest province, didn't realize how bad things actually were in the other provinces. That was until teachers noted that kids had problems with education. You see, they noticed that they had problems to concentrate, that they fell asleep, and they found it difficult to resolve mathematical equations. They later found that this was due to malnutrition. Kids were not receiving the minimum amount of nutrients for a healthy working body. The breaking point was when a reporter interviewed a little girl about 8 or 9 years old. The reporter asked the lady what she wanted to be when she grew up. The usual kiddie questions. The girl, crying, said that she didn't want to be anything, that she didn't care. The lady asked her why was she crying. She said that she cried because she was hungry, that she had nothing to eat for days. And it was then that I noticed how skinny the little girl actually was. Seeing children starve is terrible. I guess we all saw those images of the starving kids in Africa. But when you see them speaking your same language with your same accent in your own country, it hits a nerve. People talked about it for weeks, and they interviewed pediatricians that confirmed that the number of children passing away because of hunger had increased drastically in the last few months. So whatever happens, let it be a hurricane, economic collapse, earthquake, or meteor hitting Earth, food and water always comes first. Ideally, you already have a food plan and have a year worth of food in your basement. You don't? Neither did I when the SHTF, and let's just say that I had my manhood up my throat all the time, fearing that supermarkets would definitely close and me and my family would be left without food. If you don't have your food needs sorted out already, just do what I did. Start buying a little extra every time you go to the supermarket. The points you want to look for your storage food are in order of importance. Number 1, no need a fridge. Number 2, high nutritious value/volume. Number 3, long shelf life, between 1 to 5 years. 4, that they don't need water. 5, that they don't need cooking. He's saying these are all the points that you should look for when you're looking for food in order of importance. This will usually take you to canned meats, canned tuna, canned vegetables, dried pasta, dehydrated soups, chocolate, milk powder, marmalades, soups, rice, and dried beans. Canned food is excellent when it comes to long shelf life. Most of the time they are already hydrated, so they don't need water, and you can eat them out of the can. Just watch out not to dent the can. If this happens, air may get inside and ruin it. If you have a dent or bump in a can, consume it fast. Also remember that once the can is opened, you have to remove the food from the can. My favorite canned food is tuna. It lasts forever. It's full of proteins, and no matter how often I eat it, it always tastes good. Besides, you can combine it with frozen vegetables or rice. Canned fruits and vegetables are also good, but they have much less vitamins than the fresh ones, and you lose most of it unless you drink the liquid they come in. Dried pasta may need a lot of water to cook, but it's one of the best ways to store carbs in convenient to use form. Flour or wheat can also be stored in large quantities and are nutritious, but they require more preparation to consume. We've become quite independent from the fridge and only use it to keep frozen our fresh pasta, pizza, and frizzed vegetables. We practically freeze everything because it lasts longer, practically indefinitely, and because if the lights go out, a large mass of frozen food will last for hours, even a day or two. The more massive food you have frozen, the longer it will hold. The survivalists, especially the urban ones, should try to rely as little as possible on the fridge. That's why canned food and freeze-dried food is your best friend. Yet anyone who has been for a while with no fresh fruit knows that after some time the skin starts to suffer. Sores will appear after a while, especially on the delicate skin like the lips and mouth. Editor's note, this condition is commonly known as scurvy. Once you start eating fresh fruits and vegetables, again, they go away. This happened to me once. Spent too much time without fresh vegetables and my mouth was a mess full of sores. After a week of eating fresh vegetables regularly, the symptoms disappeared. That's why you should try to have some fresh food to supplement your storage food. Not much, just 2 or 3 fruit trees on your garden and a small orchard will be fine. You don't have to feed out of this, just need a little fresh veggies or fruit every once in a while. On the news right now, while I write this, we had elections last Sunday. We voted senators. It seems that in one of the North provinces, people were surrendering their ID documents for bags of groceries, some for water, or for 10 pesos, which is 3 USD. They were later taken to warehouses where they spent the night to ensure that they voted. The next day, the candidates' men took them to vote, hauled inside cattle trucks like animals. When they arrived, they were given their ID documents back with the number of lists they had to vote. Thugs guide them and ensure they vote who they want. So let that situation be a lesson to you. If there's ever an economic collapse or some sort of disaster, and they're telling you to show up to an area for food and water in exchange for showing your ID, or they're telling you to come to some place and they're going to take you to another location, or there's a fenced off area, I always recommend you avoid places like that. If you absolutely have to, then I can't stop you, but the best thing to do is avoid those areas as much as possible. Alright guys, that's it for part 7. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next part.